Welcome to the You're Not Crazy podcast, hosted by Jessica Knight, a certified life coach who specializes in healing from narcissistic and emotional abuse. This podcast is intended to help you identify manipulative and abusive behavior, set boundaries with yourself and others, and heal the relationship with yourself so you can learn to love in a healthy way. You can connect with Jessica and find additional resources, content, and coaching at emotionalabusecoach.com.
As always, thank you for being here. This episode is going to be a little bit different than my others because as I was writing it, I realized that I felt like I was really talking to my clients that are feeling like they're not able to see the person for who they really are. And I have been there, and sometimes I'm still there with certain people or a certain person, really. And it's so hard because I do believe that we see these people for the best versions of themselves, but that version of themselves is not what comes up all the time. And when somebody is abusive, whether or not they have good qualities too doesn't really matter because it doesn't overshadow the fact that they're being abusive and they don't want to stop being abusive. And so a lot of people ask me, how do I see them for who they really are? And I think it's really hard because you love them fully, right? You love them with an open heart, and that's not something to regret. It's not something to regret that you showed up fully. But the fact that they turned out to be someone different than who they presented themselves to be is not a reflection of your capacity for love. It's a reflection of their inability to engage in a relationship of honesty and integrity. I tell people all the time that your love was real, even if they were not. And notice I didn't say that their love was not, they were not. When we're in the love bombing phase of a relationship, we're being presented with usually a mirror of ourselves. They present as the best version of themselves, but also the part of themselves that we would want to have in our life. And now it's about turning that love back to yourself and nurturing the parts of you that were hurt and finding a way forward that's actually rooted in truth and authenticity, something they're not rooted in. And if you're trying to figure out how to see them accurately, it's important to strip away the illusions or hopes that are still clouding your judgment. So in other words, stop seeing the best version of them. See the version that's actually in front of you. It's really painful. It feels like we're doing something that we're not supposed to do, to take a step back and see them for how they actually are, how they're actually treating us. But it's about looking at their actions, their words, and how those align or don't align with what you need and what you want in a relationship. And the most accurate way to do this is through the lens of looking at their behavior. Again, not what they say or what they promise, because people can say all the right things, but it's their actions that really reveal their true character. And I personally have spent way too much time waiting for apologies that never came. And if you have been waiting for an apology that never comes, or if you feel consistently triggered or invalidated in your interactions, that's a clear sign that the person you're wanting may not be capable or willing to meet your emotional needs. Because let's be real here, if someone continuously causes you pain and refuses to acknowledge it and doesn't make any effort to change, that tells you a lot about their priorities and how they see themselves. Their actions or inactions might dictate a lack of empathy, emotional maturity, or commitment to your well-being. And that's something that you need to look at without making excuses for them. A healthy person wants closure. They don't want to leave strings of pain left everywhere. I know that for me, when I looked at the patterns in the relationship, the person I was hung up on exhibited patterns of manipulation, dismissiveness, and emotional unavailability. I needed to see that as an accurate representation of who he is. It hurt because I needed to knock him far off the pedestal. People who repeatedly hurt others, especially without taking responsibility, are often unwilling or incapable of maintaining healthy, respectful relationships. And it is so hard to see them for what they really are and not what you want them to be. The most accurate way to see someone is through the consistent pattern of their actions. how those actions make you feel, and whether or not they take responsibility for their behavior. If they are showing up, and if they are showing you who they are, as someone who doesn't apologize, who triggers old wounds that you have, who doesn't support your healing, you have to believe them for what they're showing you. Because most likely you are like me, and you're waiting for someone to change when they've given you every reason to see them clearly. This is not about blaming yourself. It's not about feeling bad. You wanted to see the good in someone, and it's natural to hope that people will do the right thing, that they will want to care for the people that they claim to care about. But I think the truth is that at some point you have to protect yourself and accept who they are. And that may not be someone who can give you what you need in a healthy and loving relationship. And acceptance here is so hard. But the reason I wanted to do this is because I hope that this provides some clarity. I hope that this speaks to a wound that feels very open and it's probably bleeding. If you need any support, you can find me at Emotional Abuse Coach on Instagram, at emotionalabusecoach.com, and at Jessica@jessicaknightcoaching.com. And please remember, you are not alone.